Hello. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is Movie Crap Live. And just waiting to hear myself in my high-tech setup here. It's nice to see everyone. Lauren Jones, Austin, Zane Powers, Zodberg, Nathaniel Foga, Sinram, of course. It's always nice to see Sinram here. Austin, Cornbread, Jordan Soloflo, Zane Powers. Did I see everyone? Can you hear me? That sounds like me. Man, I should talk up more. It's like, what's that guy doing? Anyway, I'm going to tweet that out. And that's... Is it good? Okay, anyway. Who else we... Oh, Ryan Walterson. Coral Tender. Sorry, Purple Goop. Sunspot Mill. I like that name. Did I get Retoon J723? Not plausible. How's it going? Not plausible. It's been a little bit. Or has it? Okay. I think the Twitter's fine. I hope so. Anyway. All right. Oh, Austin. Well, that was a good thing you just told me that, Austin, because I didn't know that. Well, when it's question time, I will... Okay. All right, cool. I have it. Anyway, Jim Force sensitive. Oh, that's... I like that. M Blood T, K Master. Aiden Bad, I think I said that. Your boy Chips Ahoy and Elwood DD. Okay, so maybe I should switch to the main. Oh, great videos this week. Want to read New Mutant? Thank you, Blacksy. Blacksy Axel was always the first one. All right, let me switch. Oh, I gotta get us. Oh, thank you for reviewing my favorite movie today from Nathaniel Fogo. Oh, thank you again for another super chat. Hold on, let's. Hey, there I am. Thank you very much. Well, you got two super chats right off the bat there, so cheers to you, Bloxy, and cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. It seemed like most people like is it not switching? Okay. It feels like most people oh, I'm sorry, Zane Powers. I'm sorry. Apologies. I'm sorry, I messed that up. But it seems like people are liking the last two videos, so that's cool. Paul Blart. No, haha, I get it, Blacksy. But thank you very much. I'm glad you guys like the New Mutants and the Looney Tunes back in action, which was cool. I'm glad the last two were pretty cool. I worked very hard on the New Mutants. I was a little worried about, because it was so like personal and stuff, if people would like it or if it'd be too much. Anyway. But I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with the video. I think it's actually a really cool video. And something I'd wanted to do ever since I heard of the New Mutants movie. But anyway, yes, I'm in... Sorry, Zodberg is right. Yes, I'm in the other room, which I don't shoot as much in usually. But tonight I'm in this room. So, yeah, thought, let's switch it up. Be cool. It's weird when you switch rooms because you gotta switch the lighting and all that. I got used to this, figuring out this in here. Anyway, yeah. Oh, ew. Oh, Ace. What was that about? But new location. Okay. Oh, some people like this room. Okay. Am I back? Oh, that's really nice of Jax. If anyone can even see me right now, I'm not even sure. Oh man, that was really cool, Jax. I hope I'm back. Oh, looks like I'm back. Am I back? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Jax Blade. Cheers to you. I really just turned off the Wi-Fi and turned it back on again. But cheers to you, Jax. That's right. I always like Jax. He's an awesome guy. Cheers to you. Glad we fixed that. Okay. We need to do the saddle rash thing. Oh, the Wi-Fi's being all sorts of weird, but it looks like we're good now, and the Wi-Fi's good. I'm confused. Clearly, Jack's strength brought the stream back. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. That was very nice. I don't know how he did that, but he did it. All right. Yes. And now I feel I have so much more energy. Anyway, and Paleo and Jax, I feel honored. So thank you. All right. I think we're back. This is weird. This is a weird show already. But yeah, nothing much. I showed. Let me think. We showed Sophie Captain Marvel because she had always wanted to see it, and I thought, it's not my favorite, but when a kid wants to see a movie, I know that feeling. So I was like, well, let's do it. It's okay. It's about as I remembered it, but she liked it, so it's harder to follow. I would say it's harder to follow, definitely than like most kids movies. I don't think it's a good kid movie really, but it's she got to see it. She liked it. I had to explain a lot to her. She asked a lot of questions. So Wonder Woman is maybe a better superhero movie for little kids. I think that's her first Marvel movie. When I started, I was like, oh, maybe I should have shown her Star Wars before this, but I'm waiting on that one. But it's also more of I like, that if when you're a kid, if you really want to see something, and anytime there's an ad for Captain Marvel, Paleo, how could you say that? She'll never want to see Trolls. Sophie did not get their 90s references, no. But I just thought if a kid wants to see something, and anytime she saw an ad, her eyes would light up, and I felt bad, and I was like, I thought that would be, if you know someone's really into something, you have to let them be into it, I guess. If I'm not saying that right. Anyway, let's move on to the actual show. I like the Jackson Paleo here, and Paige Howard and everyone. All right, cool. Okay, we're back, sort of. I have no clue how many people are watching right now based on the weirdness of all of this. I'm so confused. YouTube's giving me all sorts of weird data, so we're just going to do this show and ignore that because I don't know what's going on. Anyway, maybe I'll reload both. Or will that fuck it up? Did I fuck it up? I don't know what's going on, man. Here, YouTube and I are not getting along today, I don't think. And I can't see if I'm here. I'm hoping I'm here. This is a weird show. Am I here? Looks like I am. Okay. Alright, everything is YouTube. Am I here? I don't know. Did everyone just watch me scratch my ear? It's possible. Movies are weird right now. Yeah, it looks like I'm there. Okay, anyway. Whatever. And I can't see the chat. Zane Powers, why no show at the best one why you no show the best one Justice League? Oh, I don't think we'll do Justice League. Maybe if she's like really into Wonder Woman, but thank you, Zane Powers. Cheers to you. I hope I'm not missing anything. When Saddle Rush? I don't know. Jackson and I really should work that out. I think we've decided that should be a collab, and I don't. We have shown her Matilda Paige Howard, and she really likes Matilda. I'm not sure. Pink Flamingos isn't happening for a little bit. Anyway, this is a weird stream and hard to understand what's going on, but we'll ignore that, I guess. Anyway, here we go. So before we start the show fully, this weird show that it is today, this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, through either my Patreon or Super Chats during the show, if you are financially able to do so. My Patreon has all sorts of cool exclusive content, like the More Power in the Movie Review Vote, which will come out on Monday, and also exclusive videos, postcards, Skype calls, everything like that. It helps me continue to make videos and all sorts of cool content. So if you like that, so if you like my stuff, it's a good way to keep me being able to make it, I guess. Sorry. And I don't know, I'm laughing. It's just such a funny show today. But anyway, but yes, I very much appreciate it that through your contributions that I'm able to make this stuff and hopefully even buy a new computer soon, so this won't be as weird. But anyway, thank you all very much if you are able to do so during the show, everyone who has already, and I really appreciate it. Also, there is the Discord, which is a really cool community If you can never be on the chat and watch the show and would like to interact with people in the chat, or just people who like my videos and stuff, it's a great Discord. There's things like suggestions for Jim, where you can suggest I review things. You can ask me questions, which there's a bunch piling up that I always usually get to. There's the novelty card channel, which I actually have. I actually have new novelty cards, believe it or not, this time, which is crazy. Hold on. They're like, because I finished the New Mutants video, I gave myself, this is like a present to myself, cards, and they're like, each card is a different of the Marvel Star Wars comics. It's really, really cool. I'm really excited about these. There's like, anyway, I will do a picture tomorrow, Monday, something like that. So I'm very excited for that. But there's a novelty card channel where because I do flip novelty cards all the time. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and the general chat is actually really cool. I know it's sort of a dumb thing to say, but I think it's really cool. So, yeah. Oh, Cornbread's bringing up something cool for the Discord. I'm interested. But anyway, you should join. It's a cool community. And if you want to ask me a question, or if I don't get to it, I'm going to try to answer more questions tonight and all that. Because we're only doing 2 segments. Man, all the technical stuff at the beginning. And it's all YouTube. It's not me, actually. Well, I guess it's my internet, but I don't know. Strange. Anyway, you know what? Probably helps if I do that. Okay, and turn off. I can see my Roku screensaver. What was I going to say? Oh, no, I forgot because of that. This is a weird stream. YouTube letting us down again. That's true. What was the other thing? Discord things. Oh, I will send you a postcard. I will send you a sticker if you do send me your address, by the way. After you join the Discord, message me and send me your address. And I have tons of stickers. I think I have some in here. Anyway, this show's already been too weird. So let's just get to the actual stories. So the first story, I like to do 2 goofy stories, but this isn't a goofy story. This is a serious story, I guess. It's not. The Passion of the Christ 2, which will be called Passion of the Christ 2. Some people say the Resurrection. Jim Caviezel has officially said that there's going to be a sequel to Passion of the Christ, and it will be the biggest film in world history, not just film history, but world history, which I don't know. But yeah, we don't know what the plot is. So, there's going to be one. I'm assuming this will be more made up, not based on the Bible. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing a part of the Bible, but there will be a Passion of the Christ 2. It will be out well, actually, we don't know when it'll be out. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, Jim Caviezel said that this is being developed. I had not heard anything. Maybe that's why Mel Gibson couldn't do Chicken Run 2, because he had to do Passion of the Christ 2. So that is a real thing that is apparently actually happening. I think it might be actor said a thing, or Mel Gibson went, sure there is, and he believed it. I don't know. There's been no further confirmation on Passion of the Christ 2, but it sounds like I've read the book it's based on. Nice. It sounds like it's actually happening. Next up, Vin Diesel has a singing career now. I don't know if you guys heard. But he premiered his song on the Kelly Clarkson show. You should look it up. It is bizarre because all daytime shows, instead of having audiences, just have all these screens in back of them, and people like Skype in, which I don't know how that works. I'm a little curious, but I'm also so confused because you just see all these people like dancing to a Vin Diesel song. So I guess because he can't do Fast and Furious, he started singing Fast and Furiously. So, yeah. So if you want to hear that, it's a real thing that really happened. It's also weird because like Vin Diesel kind of hit right. Fast and Furious hit like that same summer, the summer of like American Idol. So it's bizarre to me that like Fast and Furious and like Vin Diesel and Kelly Clarkson continue. 2002 keeps living on. I think that was 2002, right? I don't know. Who remembers? Anyway, so real stories. I need some water. Real stories here. So there are two voice actors who've been sort of recast, or I guess I should really say two voice roles that were recast, because both these voice actors are still working on the particular shows. The first one, and the first one that is actually going to happen this Sunday, apparently, Carl on The Simpsons has been replaced. Hank Azaria, who previously voiced the role, is no longer going to voice the role anymore. It is going to be Alex Desert, who I'm not really familiar with. I'd say I've probably seen him on stuff, but he's not someone who pops to me necessarily. We don't officially know the voice of this. Everyone says it's just going to be a Carl voice. I assume it is. I couldn't find anything unless something's come up. But what? No, I said Carl. I'm confused what Austin's doing in there. But the one thing I'll get to the Family Guy one, which is probably a lot more interesting. But the Carl thing, what's interesting to me with this is like they recast Carl because they were getting a lot of heat on the fact that they had Hank Azaria or various other voice actors voicing black characters. But the Apu thing, which has been a controversy for far longer, they've done like nothing about. Like, why was Carl the first? Like, just that seems so bizarre. Like, you clearly had this issue that you're just not addressing, and you're like, well, it's like they're dealing with the newer controversies first. But I was like, why haven't you dealt with? I mean, I guess they said they'll deal with it at a future time, was the thing Lisa said to Marge or whatever. But I'm a little curious to hear a different voice out of Carl. And this one sounds different because the Cleveland one was he's doing an impression, but this one, it sounds like it could be different, but again, we haven't heard it. So I'm a little curious. I might actually watch that episode of The Simpsons, but we'll see. And in kind of related to that news is Cleveland Brown has been recast. Previously was Mike Henry. He is still on the show doing other voices, much like Hank Azaria is still doing other voices on The Simpsons. They weren't really fired or anything like that. They still are getting work and are both, I'm assuming, pretty rich people. But they did not change Dr. Herbert. That's an untitled project. That is actually... that's a good point. I'm not sure why they haven't, but they haven't. But yeah, so Cleveland Brown has been recast. It's a YouTuber called Arif Zahir, I believe. He's replacing Mike Henry. You can actually listen to his Cleveland Brown impression on YouTube. His last video he made with a Cleveland Brown impression, which was Cleveland Brown, I think, playing like Modern Warfare, or I don't know what. It's a video game. I know nothing about gaming, but he's playing it as Cleveland Brown, like doing a live stream, bumping into people. It's like a jokey thing. But before it, he talks about how Mike Henry had left the show. And what I think, or had left the show, left voicing Cleveland. And he was very respectful about it. Like, it's kind of interesting, like, he could have said, like, I never liked this white guy who was voicing Cleveland and all this stuff. And he didn't do that. And I think a lot of how the Family Guy camp handled it versus the Simpsons camp, which Simpsons didn't have a statement from Hank Azaria, probably since of his double earlier, and we didn't have a statement from the new voice actor, at least in the press stuff I found. But in the stuff with Cleveland Brown, you heard, you have Arif Zahir saying nice things, and in his YouTube video before this starts, saying nice things about Mike Henry, and Mike Henry being very gracious about him taking over the role, which I thought they handled it actually really good. So, I was actually more impressed with how the Family Guy people handle it. I was like, wow, that's cool. We're not going to hear his voice until later on. They've already, because of the way Fox does seasons, like half of the previous season is still going to be airing, and then the next season, I think it sounds like we might not even hear the Cleveland Brown voice till 2021, but as it is pretty much the same voice, even though it's done from a different actor, an actual African-American actor other than what he was before. But I did like how they handled that. In other, and by the way, I did not know this block was still called Animation Domination. I thought that was a joke that people kept referencing when they said it, but apparently it is still called that, which shows you I don't watch it ever. But Bob's Burgers and Family Guy got 2 season pickups, and this is the part no one is watching this is going to like, The Simpsons are working on another several season pickup as well. They are seriously considering keeping The Simpsons going, so it doesn't sound like, it sounds like, I think they are approved for a little bit, but they're working on a multi-season pickup at this time with The Simpsons, which is bizarre to me, but is something that is definitely happening. Apparently we're really going to get more Simpsons, so cool. Anyway, in other news, Quibi. Remember Quibi? We all joked about it. Well, guess what? Even though it won several Emmys, in categories it pretty much seems like they invented that only happened at the Emmys this year, which is totally suspect, but whatever, everyone was okay with it. But they're considering selling Quibi, the platform, to someone who might be interested. Have no fear, they have stories for years. I guess so, Zane Powers. Cheers to you. Yeah, they're considering a real sale of Quibi. This is a real thing. They're really considering it. But I know they're having financial troubles. But if I was Quibi, the Roku app, which I don't know if that came out. I actually haven't. Now I'm looking at my TV because the screensaver. I should really turn it off, but I don't think that's remote. I'll deal with it later. Anyway, but Quibi for real is trying to sell themselves. But I feel like, and I said this on Twitter, between Reno 911, the 50 States of Fright, Free Rayshon, which I keep hearing nice things about, they do have enough properties where I feel like they could sell off a lot of this content to other streaming services, repackage it, re-edit a lot of it, and it would be, do pretty well, or just become a production company that has a YouTube channel, which, to be honest, at this point would be more profitable than what they're doing. I think they just don't think the right way, and like selling off their stuff to a streaming service probably would have been a much better idea than just selling them, because no one wants Quibi really. So we'll see what happens. It's kind of a joke. I don't know who was going to do it. It's a lot of people are bringing up the golden, or maybe just Austin. Oh yeah, I did want to talk about this, I guess. So the Golden Arm review is a video that like people keep watching. It's a video of mine that it was a segment on Movie Crap Live, and then it became a separate video, and people keep watching it. And the most controversial thing I've ever said in a review is that I could pick up that tree that fell on the girl's arm. Like that, apparently everyone universally hates that. I kind of think it's funny. I almost want to do a tweet of all the screenshots of people getting mad at me for saying I could lift that tree. They're like, look at you can't lift that tree. So if most people I think get bullied on the internet for real things, I just get bullied on that I can't lift trees that look heavy. I think I could lift a semi-heavy tree. Now, it wasn't a full tree in my... Oh, did you hear that? That was a big motorcycle. I maintain, it wasn't a big tree. It was a little tree. So I need to post Yeah, I think Jack's Blade could lift a tree. I think he could have lifted that tree. I want Jack's Blade to make a fitness video about lifting the tree and in the 50s, the golden arm thing. It's directed by Sam Raimi. He might like that. I don't know if he's still listening or watching or whatever, but I think he would. Actually, I want to see. I don't think he should do it because no one's heard of this show, but that would be funny if you had Jack's. He could decide if I could lift that tree, or I think he could lift that tree. Maybe we both could collab. Anyway, all right. So remember how everyone said the Snyder Cut was done and it was a finished cut and it just needed some special effects and stuff, and then it would be out because it's there and we can release it because it's so done and stuff. It just needs like a couple million maybe. Well, apparently, guys, that is not true. Shock. and they're going to do reshoots, and they're going to get the whole cast back together, even Ray Fisher, and Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill and all that stuff, and they're going to spend $70 million on these reshoots, which is bigger than like a lot of movies. It's probably cost more than Citizen Kane, I'm assuming, but I'm pretty sure I can stand by that. So, yeah, they're going to be spending $70 million on the reshoots of Justice League for HBO Max, for the Snyder Cut. I have heard, I haven't watched the Midnight's Edge or whatever video try to kind of argue that, no, that's not really what they meant this whole time. What they really meant was this thing, and like what we really said, and like, I mean, there is a cut, and I almost want to explain to them, like, guys, this is like, what you thought was a cut was probably just an assembly edit, and not even that. It's like it's more of like just a timeline in a program they made just for organizational reasons. And someone went, "Is there a cut?" And I go, "I mean, yeah, sort of." And they were like, "Ah, there's a cut." It's really pathetic, this whole thing. So they're going to be spending a lot of money. $70 million on the Snyder Cut. Which I think is pretty ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't think that they would spend $70 million on the Snyder Cut, but they are. So yeah, I mean, I kind of think they're probably reshooting things, which is probably a good idea, or things of that nature. I thought it was done, and it's so confusing, and honestly, who cares? But it's just hilarious that this continues to go on. All right, so okay. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry about that. I had something in my teeth was bugging me, and I didn't want you to see that. Sorry. Anyway, oh, hey. Hello, Patty. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Here's to everyone. 70 million reshirts being successful, by the way. It's pronounced Paddy. Oh, there we go. Paddy. Okay. Anyway, cheers to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, thank you very much. All right. Sorry. I don't know. Snyder Cut? More like? What? Anyway. Oh, Jordan Bouchard, your question from last week that I didn't get to answer because of Google Docs was being weird. I use Google Docs to do the show. I'm going to answer it at the end of this show, so sorry I didn't do that. Anyway, just so you know. All right, so let's get to what Disney did to... This is sort of a weird movie news week because there's like sort of big movie news, but then there's a lot of lesser small things, so excuse the... I wasn't sure how to organize it, so... Yeah, anyway. Alright, so Disney kind of fucked up their whole release calendar. They basically took off a lot of things. To sort of explain it before I just listing off dates and things that have been moved. Everything that is Fox, apparently they signed a deal when they signed the deal with Fox that basically, so they wouldn't just like bury the things that Fox had made, they would release those to theaters. That is the bigger contractual thing, not this HBO Fox thing, which apparently isn't as much of a thing as people think it is, and as well as some of those films had agents who basically can put in contracts like this has to go to theaters, and sometimes certain theater counts actually, that is a real thing. So, but mainly at this point with the Fox stuff, none of these are too big. That's why you're seeing some stuff stay within this year, but most of it was moved months and months back. Even a year from where it was originally released, like Black Widow, which originally was supposed to open this past summer, didn't because of coronavirus, is now opening the next summer. But the interesting thing with the Marvel stuff is Black Widow, the original release order was going to be Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi. It has been switched up to be Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals. I think that's interesting. I think some of the Marvel stuff you need to watch in a certain order, others you sort of don't. And I think a lot of that was more because I think Shang-Chi, from my understanding, is where they were still shooting for a long time in Australia while the while Corona was going on, so that might be more done. That might be part of it. Also, like, might not really matter. We're seeing that also with, you know, how originally the Disney Plus thing was supposed to start with Falcon and Winter Soldier. It seems like WandaVision was a lot more done, so they could release that. So I think that's sort of what's going on. But since everyone says, you know, oh, you can't release these things because of continuity, if you really think about it, not many of them, like, there's certain ones that really matter in a certain order, but the others, like, you could watch that one, you know, like, does it matter if you watch, you know, Guardians in the Galaxy or Winter Soldier first? Like, it doesn't really matter. So if it's that kind of a situation, they should be fine. But I am excited for Shang-Chi. But let's just go through the whole thing. The one other thing is that Soul currently is staying put. That looks like it is the case. That looks like it's the case because being November 20th, because they released that a Spark short is going to open it. I believe it's called Borrows. I was a little surprised that they're really sticking to their guns on the Soul situation, because a lot of people have said, oh, that could just go to Disney Plus. Is it called Borrow? It is called Borrow. Okay, sorry. Just confirming. But they're really sticking to their guns on that. I'm not sure if it goes to Disney Plus what will happen to Borrow, specifically the Spark short, but it seems like they did put out two things this past week saying Soul will come out on November 20th that were very corporate and pointed, being this release schedule, and that there will be a Spark short before it. So in my mind, it sort of sounds like Soul is going to theaters, which sucks because I would like to see Soul, and I don't know if theaters will be open in New York by then. I don't think I'll be comfortable going to them. But let's just go through it. The first one that seems like is going to come out was actually one that moved up. It was originally going to be on, it's called The Empty Man. It's sort of a cult horror film. It was one of the Fox films that Disney bought. It was originally going to come out on December 4th. Is now moved up to October 23rd, which I think is like the next major release at this point. If I'm wrong, I'm not sure. I really don't know because it changed so much. Black Widow, which was before, it's moved several times, but its most recent date was November 6th, 2020. Now it is moved to May 7th, 2021, which is about a year from where it was originally going to go. This also brings up that Universal moved all their stuff back a year, and that seems like a way smarter idea than like this whole let's move it back 2 months, let's move it back 3 months kind of nonsense. Like, you notice we don't talk about Fast 9, even though that got delayed because it just moved itself out of the equation, and these other movies tried to play like, oh, we can do this, we can do that, but they were far smarter about it. Oh, good point. Cornbread, I'm going to read this because it's a good point. Counterpoint, Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out in 2017, despite taking place in 2015. This won't be a big problem. Good point. Also, Death on the Nile, which was going to come out on October 23rd, is now Empty Man's release date, has now been moved to December 18th, 2020. The Eternals was going to be on February 2nd, 2021, now on November 5th, 2021. And then Shang-Chi, which was going to come out on June 7th, 2021, is now coming out on July 9th of that year. Deep Water, which I'm not exactly sure what that is going to come out on November 13th of this year, has been moved to August 13th of next year. West Side Story was moved back a whole year. You could move that back to Never When I'm Alive, because I don't want to see West Side Story at all, because it sounds like a horrible idea to remake that, but they've moved it back a whole year because Steven Spielberg has to remake West Side Story. Whatever. And The Kingsman was actually moved up a couple of weeks. It was going to be on February 26th, and now is going to come out on February 12th, which is actually kind of cool for that, if you want to see that. Disney also this year has Free Guy has not moved. I think that was a Fox movie that was still coming out on December 11th. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on. Obviously, everything that happened with the Croods, which a lot of people think the Croods basically tried to play chicken with Soul, saying that we're going to come out on, I think it's November 20th, but that time frame, saying that Soul is definitely going to Disney Plus. But what Croods is doing is similar, and same with the other Universal movie, Freakies or whatever. Those are doing the VOD thing where it can play in theaters, and then uh, it can play in theaters and then a month later play on VOD. So Croods 2 will be on VOD confirmed in around Christmas. Soul, as of this moment, has not announced a Disney Plus thing. And the Mulan numbers that I talked about previously, there's been some dispute on that. Some people say it made as much as little as 30 million. Some say it made tons. No one is sure at all how much it made, and Disney's not giving us real numbers, and it doesn't seem like there's anything we're sure of right now. So, yeah. But it's interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Free Guy, I think, is one of the ones that I'm curious about. I'm also wondering, since Ryan Reynolds is more of a Netflix guy, if they could convince Ryan Reynolds to put that on a streaming service more so than, like, from what we've read about, you know, things like Scarlett Johansson not wanting to give up, you know, her back-end percentage. Ryan Reynolds has done that several times with Netflix through deals he's doing. I wouldn't be surprised. Free Guy, no one's really talking about that. That seems like a big hit, to be honest. But I think, like, maybe they should move that out of the way from December. So we'll see what's going on. Also, Bond, we haven't heard anything about. If you're also wondering what theater owners think on that, I'm sure you totally are. But theater owners actually were kind of more cool about this than you would think. But kind of doomsayer, a VP of NATO, which is not the one that's not about theaters. It's the National Association of Theater Owners, actually said in a statement, which I'm not going to read all of, but it was basically just like, we need big movies, but we understand because of coronavirus and all that, theaters are running out of content. But even NATO, the vice president of NATO, publicly said theaters are going to start to close. We haven't really seen that. I haven't seen that of any theaters I go to normally, but be prepared over the next few months. If we don't start having more of an update or some sort of a vaccine or something like that, and I'm just telling you this now because I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer or something like that, but it's just a reality of the situation. We really haven't had many movie theaters closed because of this, but that is something that is going to start to happen because a lot of people think they can make it to through 2020, but once we start getting into 2021 and there's no vaccine or no, end of this in sight, we're going to see some of your favorite, especially independent theaters, close. And that's unfortunate. That's just the way it is. I'm just sort of, the fact that NATO is comfortable saying it seems to me that we might see some of these before the end of the year even. But as of right now, a lot of people are saying at least till the end of the year. So if your theater is doing one of those, if your theater, why were you saying facts? Chicken sandwiches are delicious. That's true. If your favorite theater, especially independent theater, is doing a thing where you can rent a movie through their site, that is a good way to support your local theaters. So especially if you have an independent theater in your town, I'm actually going to look into this myself over the next week and maybe promote doing this, because I think like we should find ways to help these theaters that are safe and healthy and supportive as well. And I think there's a way to do that. So try to, if your local theater is doing one of those things, just rent one of those movies, even if you don't want to see one of those movies, but you want to like just give them like a support, like Patron or Super Chat or something, then just do that as well, because theater owners need our help right now. Anyway, so speaking of the WandaVision trailer, before we get into Emmy stuff, the WandaVision trailer played, during the Emmys. It was actually really cool. I liked the trailer. It kind of plays as more of a weirder, stranger, different Marvel show. I think it's probably cooler in a way that this is the one that's kicking off the shows, because Falcon and Winter Soldier looks good, but that seems like kind of a normal superhero thing. And I think this feels like a different kind of Marvel superhero thing. So I think that could actually be really cool. I'm excited for it. I know it comes out later. I'm a little surprised because it seemed like they might delay it or something, but and I liked super chat from Sinram. Thank you, Sinram. Neither Arclight or Cinemark have reopened in my area yet. Landmark has and is showing I'm thinking of ending things. Oh, cool. I still need to see that. I would like to see it. Cheers to you, Sinram. Yeah, a lot of places aren't opening. Unfortunate, but that's an interesting one to see in the. Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. So a lot of the chain, that's true. A lot of chains aren't opening in certain areas too. Man, this is such a mess. Anyway, cheers to you, Sinram. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the super chat. It's very nice of you. But yes, I think WandaVision will be a really cool show. I think it'll open up a lot of see, I haven't seen, I'm thinking of ending things, but I am a big Pauline Kael person, so I've always had Pauline Kael books. But yeah, WandaVision looks really cool. I like them wearing the classic costumes thing and all that. I am curious, and I said this, like, is the idea of it, because they have a very unconventional relationship, are they viewing their relationship through how media has taught them to view relationships? Like saying, like, they are looking at, like, Leave It to Beaver, the Brady Bunch, like, this is how a marriage should be versus how their marriage actually is. That's kind of like what I'm guessing from it. A lot of people are saying it's because she's losing her mind and stuff. I sort of get that, but who really knows until we see it? I think she's just in a pocket dimension or something, but we'll see what's going on. No, I know there's lots of people writing theories and seeing little tidbits in the background, all that stuff. But it looks like a fun show. It looks like it sort of reminds me of like Marvel Studios' version of Legion, which I kind of feel like I should have stuck more with, especially because that was a Bill Sienkiewicz, Chris Claremont thing in New Mutants right after Demon Bear. Yeah, it does sort of like Marvel Studios is like, oh, that Legion show people seem to think was cool. What if we did our own? It's sort of, maybe I'm reading into that. So the Emmys happened. I talked most about the, animated show, children program, stuff like that. But I thought I would go over it, and specifically with Shitt's Creek, which just destroyed the Emmys, basically. It won like every category it was in for that last season. It completely swept from writing to directing to every lead and supporting actor, which is great for Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy, who are comedy legends, and they absolutely fucking deserve it. Like, they really deserve it. I think that was amazing. That they all won. I'm not a huge Shitt's Creek fan, to be honest with you, but I thought it was cool that they won so many, so that's cool. Not many other big things. Zendaya won. She's the youngest person ever to win Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series. There was some weird thing about people were like, because it was like confused about when someone said it was an awards upset, and people on Twitter were like, why are you upset? Zendaya or whatever is great. And I was always like, that's not what upset means. We'll get back to that. But we have a super chat. Disney is keeping Soul theatrical on November 20th. Yay. DreamWorks moving Croods up to November 20th is a huge mistake. They should move it back to December. Daniel Vasquez. I think Daniel Vasquez, they're trying to play chicken, but we'll see how long they play chicken as of right now. Because I think, like what I was saying before, I think Croods 2 is not the brand. Croods is not the brand that just anonymous Pixar movie is, which is really insulting, but it's true, because nobody gives a shit about the Croods. But like, you say like, oh, a Pixar movie that looks good, that's like all you need marketing wise. But thank you very much for the super chat. That's very nice of you. Cheers to you. But also to add the Croods 2 thing with the VOD thing, that they can go to VOD a month later, I think it actually makes the Croods a little more sustainable than Soul. Like, they could open and Croods 2 could not make anything, and it will still do better than Soul, theoretically. Just theoretically. I'm sure it won't be better, though. It might be. I don't know. I have to see both these movies to fully say that, though. But, the Emmys, the Zendaya upset thing, an awards upset just means, like, it was a surprise, and it really was. If you look at who she was up against, no one, I think, thought she was going to win. I think she's a great actress, but, and it's really cool that she won, but it's just funny that people got so weird about that. But there we go. I don't think there's too much other Emmy stuff other than I think Dan Levy from Shitt's Creek got like as many awards as the entire show of Watchmen did, which also won for limited. But if you want to see Shitt's Creek, there's a ton of ways that have come out to see it. First off, and this is how my wife watched it actually. If you go on, if your cable provider has Pop TV and they have an on-demand service, you can probably watch the final season right now, if you're in America at least. So if you want to watch that, just seriously go do that right now. As well, it is going to start playing on Comedy Central. They're going to run it from the beginning, running through the entire series, starting on October 2nd, and it is going to be on Netflix October 7th, and there's even a deal working out to give it syndication as well. So suddenly, it might be a little more difficult to watch Shittz Creek at this moment right now, but by like November, it's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be all encompassing. So it's kind of interesting the show's hitting its peak at the end, but that's probably a better thing, that people will remember it better than if it overextended its welcome by hitting later and going on too long. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of want to give it a better shot at this point. I keep hearing about it. I'm like, oh, maybe I should really sit down with it. I don't know. But anyway, so after the Croods, just because, anyway, sorry. After the Emmys. So after Dark Crystal won an Emmy, it was canceled because, of course, when Dark Crystal's Age of Resistance won, tied the Best Children's Program Emmy, and then it was canceled, I think, Monday or Tuesday. This was pretty shocking because why cancel it then, of all times? Why didn't you already cancel it? But it's also shocking because a bunch of people brought this up, that originally when they pitched this to Netflix, they're like, what if we make this animated? Because there's no way we can make this with puppets and special effects. That would be like insane. It would cost way too much. And Netflix was like, no, let's do that. And then Netflix canceled it. Just like, so you wanted the show to be super expensive, and they were like, oh man, we sort of screwed up, so like, you know, if you could just cancel it and not make any more, sorry about that. It's just ridiculous. It's whatever, Netflix. I think it's a shame. I don't think, some people have suggested it could go to Disney Plus. That's clearly like Disney doesn't own the rights to Dark Crystal. I'm sure Ryan Walcherson will say in the chat whether that's true or not. I wouldn't be surprised if someone picks it up, but things don't usually leave Netflix for something else. Although Toucan Birdie, it did happen. So maybe we'll see a situation like Toucan Birdie with Dark Crystal. I don't think that's true, but we'll see. But I think if there's a way they can continue it, they should. It just won an Emmy, and I think there's a lot of streaming services that want that kind of good buzz. Also, like cult shows, like I've said many times, cult shows are a lot more valuable in today's climate because you know you're getting a certain audience with it. And I think that weekend you got a lot of... Niji Kichu's here. Hello. Oh, I always like it when Niji Kichu's here. Niji Kichu said, fun fact, after the filming of XN, Ian McKellen took the buff suit that gave him abs home and still occasionally wears it around now and then. That's a good fun fact. Cheers to you, Niji Kishu. Alright, that was good. I'm glad to see Niji Kichu. That's awesome. It's always good when Niji Kichu's here. Alright, so this is sort of a bunch of little things for trailers and stuff, but there's a bunch of little things after this point anyway, so whatever. I saw the Croods 2 trailer. It seemed like fine. It's also like, I don't care about these characters, and I don't think anyone really does. And it sort of like was one of those things that you watch it and you're like, oh, I guess that's what they would do, but it just didn't seem that exciting. I don't know. I probably will watch Croods again before this. And I do like Chris Sanders a lot. I don't know if he's involved in this one, but as a director, I find him... Actually, I should look up if he's interested. I didn't even look that up, who's directing Croods 2. But it just sort of looks fine. It does look like the lighting and the animation's good, but it just story-wise, it's like they find these other people, and it's like... I'm so sick of like, oh, you're cavemen. No one's cavemen anymore stories. Like, how many of those can we do at this point? Like, it just feels a little... It feels a little pathetic. Like, you know, like, haven't we done that a bunch of times? Like, that doesn't sound interesting. Their family kind of like meeting new people and changing sort of culturally is a little interesting, but we'll see when that goes on demand, which is probably when I'm going to see it. The Over the Moon trailer, Over the Moon looks really great and really wonderful. I'm very excited for that. I mean, it's Glenn Keane's animated film. I think it looks really wonderful. I'm just excited to watch that a couple times. I sort of think, in a way, that's going to be this year's Klaus. It's not directed by Chris Sanders, apparently. Joel Coward? Oh, everyone's let me know this stuff, but yeah. Oh, he was too busy with the dog movie, with Call of the Wild. Thank you, TuneJ723. You're right. But yeah, Over the Moon, I think, is going to be Netflix's big push for Oscars this year, and apparently that is also why Soul doesn't want to move too far, because they really want Soul to get that Best Animated Feature Oscar. So then Pete Docter has 3 Best Animated Features. No, just 2? No, it would be 3. Jesus. So over Netflix. In other little quick news, they made a Mabel from Gravity Falls broken karaoke thing. It was sort of cute. It looks... So, I've heard this is a new thing, but she's doing a Call Me Maybe, or Mabel or whatever, and Call Me Maybe was big when Gravity Falls was, like, on the show, so, or on, you know, like, was airing, so was this maybe recorded before? That's my own conspiracy theory, but it was cute. If you want to see Mabel again, it's really great. Also, with Peacock, which I still don't know when it's coming to Roku, but apparently that deal was worked out. It's going to, sorry. It's going to Roku. No one sure what date it is, but on October 1st, all 45 seasons of Saturday Night Live will be coming to Peacock, which to me, that's a crazy good reason to watch Peacock. I'm actually excited to just poke around at, like, because, you know, especially the early seasons are sort of interesting to watch, and like the 90s, the Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman years. I'd love to watch those. So I'm also curious sometimes, and I don't know this to be true, but I'll just bring it up, I guess, that sometimes SNL at late at night, because I'm a dork and I know this, they wouldn't play the version that aired. They play all the they film all the dress rehearsal stuff, and sometimes they just air that at 1 a.m. randomly. And I'm wondering if they'll air put some of those on there as special features. That would be really cool. I'm just putting it out there. I have no clue if that's happening. I want to preface that I have not watched this thing, and I might actually watch this tonight while I'm doing time code, because it sounds really cool. But since I didn't get to watch it, but Ryan Walters told me about it, and this is cool. So Conan took an episode and they did various different versions, like sort of like what you know, I should have really watched this, but it sounds really cool. Basically like what they do with like the you know, Star Wars recut or unedited thing I was in, or Empire Strike. No, I was in the Empire Strike Back one. I'm sorry, misspoke. I reviewed the Star Wars one, and then the Shrek Retold, I think it is. So oh, Buster's here. Buster, you want to be on? No? Okay, forget it. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, it sounds actually really cool, this Conan O'Brien episode. It is episode... Oh, Buster! Sorry about that. He knocked my mic over. Cool. Alright, I hope that wasn't too loud for anybody. Sorry, he is a little liberal with the wires. But yeah, it sounds like a cool... Sorry to everyone who's wearing headphones. But yeah, it's on the Team Coco website, as Ryan Wilcherson says. It sounds really cool. I'm going to try to watch it tonight. Because I know he did like a clay animation one. He's done others where they'll like reinterpret an episode. And I always liked those back in the day when he did it on NBC. So I'm curious to watch this one on TBS. And I need to watch more Conan, because he's been doing a lot of cool stuff in quarantine. I've heard a lot of great acclaim for that. Oh, hey! Alex was here. I was lucky. But it sounds really cool. Alright, so a Suicide Squad spin-off about the Peacemaker starring John Cena the Peacemaker is in the new The Suicide Squad that James Gunn is directing. This is going to be a spin-off show. It's going to be about 8 episodes. James Gunn will have written every episode, or at least take part in writing every episode, and direct some of them, supposedly. We don't know if this is a sequel or a prequel, and they're being pretty tight-lipped about it, so we'll see. But it sounds kind of cool. I'm curious like how big of a deal they expect the Peacemaker to be, if he's the breakout character. I know John Cena's been looking at sort of a movie star breakout role, although he was really funny in Bumblebee. I still think about like doesn't he say like they're called the Decepticons and you trusted them or something, like I forgot what he says about the Decepticons. It was just very funny. He just had the perfect... He's very good in Bumblebee, even though he's not like your big takeaway. But Yeah, I think clearly this shows that Peacemaker is the character they expect to break out. It's interesting to me with this James Gunn thing. I am wondering if he will move more over to Warner's post this Suicide Squad thing. Like, I'm very curious if Guardians 3 happens at this point. I'm by the way, I'm not like trying to spread rumors. Just like, it just feels like what he said about the Suicide Squad and how much freedom they gave him, and now he's doing this show, and I'm like, what is going on? Because it seems like he's doing a lot of stuff with them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to start shit or anything like that, but I'm just saying that it just seems like he does a lot of stuff over there. So we shall see. Oh, Buster made like all these weird letters on my browser thing. Anyway, on the browser so I can see the stream. All right. Alright, so the Paramount, that sucks. Anyway, sorry. Ryan's like, don't cut that. Maybe. Well, here, this is an interesting one. So the monster at the end of the book, which is one of my favorite children's books, I read it to Sophie. I think I do a pretty good job reading it. Probably don't, but I think I do. But they're making an animated version, which I don't think this story would really work as an animated special, but they're doing it anyway. It's going to be on HBO Max on October 22nd. I will at least watch it. You know, there's a sequel with Elmo, and it seems like Elmo is in the stills. Curious how this is all going to factor into each other, but I'm at least open to watching it once. So decipher Buster's code. I should have put it in the chat. Next time he knocks my shit over. There's a reason all my drinks when I edit are in a different thing, because a cat did destroy a previous computer. Oh man, 2013, and my computer went down, and then we moved, and anyway, my channel fell apart at that time. Yeah, that was rough. Anyway, no, Monster, Alex likes that book, cool. Monster at the End of the Book is a great book. It's an awesome kid's book. So, Rogue One is having a director, Rogue One's already finished, haha. The Rogue One spin-off, about, see, I just wrote Cassian Andor, sorry, which was originally going to be about the Cassian Andor spinoff. I've seen a couple people for it. The prequel thing, it's like sort of a prequel, but they sort of just hint at the prequel thing, but they wouldn't. Apparently, when asked, they're like, well, so it's a prequel. They wouldn't confirm or deny that. That's sort of the reason I said that, because apparently a lot of people wouldn't, even though they use that verbiage when they said, so it's a prequel, apparently DC wouldn't comment, which is strange. So that's why I was saying that. I should have explained that better. Sorry. Anyway, so the Cassian Andor Rogue One special was originally going to be directed by Tony Gilroy, who helped do the reshoots on Rogue One, and the Cassian Andor was, of course, in Rogue One. But because of coronavirus, Tony Gilroy has decided he does not want to direct any episodes, and instead a director from Black Mirror, Toby Haynes, who's English because this was being filmed in England, is going to do it. Tony Gilroy didn't want to leave his family during coronavirus. I can't really blame him. Some people have tried to sensationalize this as another Star Wars director leaving. I think there's sort of a whole larger context than bringing up drama about Kathleen Kennedy right now, guys, but whatever. You gotta make views and stuff. But yeah, it seemed like he's still the showrunner. He's still writing it and working on it, and probably going to get dailies at his house and shit. He's just not going to England to shoot this. So if you read anything about Toby Haynes, who did directed the Star Trek episode thing or whatever of Black Mirror, if you read anything about the director change, it's really just that this one guy didn't want to go over in England and all that stuff. So, yeah. So, if you've ever wondered, why isn't there a National Treasure 3? Well, one of the producers actually explained why it didn't happen. And it's not just because, Nick Cage asked for too much money or anything like that. It's something we've heard about Disney for a while now. And it's sort of interesting. It's basically National Treasure isn't big enough of a brand. Clownfish TV from St. Powers. Cheers to you, and yes. Sorry I talked so much shit about those guys. I should not. I should try not to. Anyway, so National Treasure 3, we heard from a producer, if you're wondering why that never happened, and they basically explained because, one, Disney bought Marvel and Star Wars and stuff, but also because no one was really buying National Treasure merchandise. Like, people will buy Jack Sparrow merchandise, they'll buy, get a t-shirt with Pirates of the Caribbean on it, they would sell stuff, their parks would have Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, all those things. Like, those things would happen. But National Treasure couldn't do that. National Treasure was just movies. And because of that, it was harder to sell them on a third film. If there had been a National Treasure, apparently, ride or some crap like that, then they would have actually made a National Treasure 3 sooner. So apparently that is exactly why, which sort of makes sense because I don't know anyone... You couldn't merchandise, and that's a big thing for Disney, to be honest with you. It's also that they don't have a ton of release dates, and which is why the Tron 3 thing, like, we still don't have a date on it, and why I always am very cynical about those things, and it's not because I hate that movie or something like that. It's more because they prioritize the things that make them the most money, and some of these, like, more fringer things that before worked really well for them don't. Because they know, before when they didn't have Star Wars and Marvel and Disney Animation and Pixar, it worked better, but now it doesn't. So, also in other Nick Cage news, Nick Cage was apparently up for Frank Grimes. It sounds like he wasn't really asked or was only in discussion for a little bit, and then they decided to have Hank Azaria voice Frank Grimes instead. But in an alternate universe, Nick Cage was Frank Grimes, which is sort of interesting, but I always liked that it was The Simpsons, Hank Azaria's voice. Like, I actually remember thinking that was cool that they created a character and it wasn't a celebrity voice. Like, I actually used to look up, like, oh, it's definitely a celebrity voice, even though it sounds so Hank Azaria-y. Just like, it's just so perfect. I think I like Frank Grimes. So Netflix has been doing a lot in terms of getting more in animation. They're really trying to beef up their animation thing. They've made an animation facility in Burbank, around where like Cartoon Network and Disney and all these other animation studios are. That's supposedly because of the location, so it's easier to have interviews and meet those people and so forth. The weird thing about this, at the Netflix building for animation, is most of their bigger successes on animation are kind of farmed out to other places. And as much as when I even read reports are like, oh, this will help them because when they can make Klaus here and stuff. I'm like, they didn't make Klaus. Somebody else did. They just distributed it. So I'm curious, like, it seems like they want to build up their own sort of style, but I think what sort of works for them is they're able to take talented animators, and we're seeing this a lot in animation, and the rise of the auteur is taking a different turn at this point, because we've had auteur animation since the early 90s, and now what Netflix is doing is like, oh, so you're an auteur, or even Adult Swim's doing it with Gendy, you're an auteur, but this studio won't let you do what you want. Well, we have lots of money, we'll let you do what you want over here, and you can make it, and you can give us prestige and awards, and then other animators will flock to us. So you're seeing more of that. I don't know what this facility has to do with that. That feels like sort of counter to that, and I'm wondering if they'll continue to do that, but other streaming services will pick up that, or they're expecting that and they want their own studio. I don't know, but there's definitely some moves going on there, just to bring it up. So Castlevania as well, you're right. I don't know how many of you guys are Wong Kar-wai fans, but it's my show, so I'm going to talk about it. Apparently, there's going to be a Chungking Express sequel called Chungking Express 2020. It has been approved by the Chinese government to be made. We'll see if this happens, but it sounds like it's going to happen, but that's kind of interesting. I should review Chungking Express. If he makes the sequel, I think 2046 or 2046 was sort of a sequel as well. And Fallen Angels was sort of made at the same time also. Anyway, I watch a lot of Wong Kar-wai, but apparently there is a Chungking Express sequel that he's written the script, and it's in development actively. So if you're into Wong Kar-wai, yeah, there'll be a sequel. Or if you've never seen Chungking Express, check that out. It's a great movie. So this one article came out, and it was actually, it's not so much. I want to preface this. It's not so much that this article is really great, but I think it's something I wanted to talk about. And it was basically, and I think I've talked about it before. I sort of just decided to stop tweeting about it because I think I am coming off sort of like a jerk or something. Is the idea that we don't. Well, I've talked about before. I don't like the idea that when people are like, "Oh, this series is featured on a streaming service," and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean it's popular or it's getting more coverage. They change that alignment based on each viewer, user, and so forth. But sorry, that's maybe a tangent. But what this article was, it says, and I retweeted. It says, "We have no idea what pop culture is really popular anymore, and that's a problem." And I agree, we don't really know. I think at the beginning of the pandemic we did because Tiger King just took over. But other than like the Netflix top 10, the box office is not a judge of what movies are popular at this point. So it's kind of a weird situation. I will say, like, obviously I run a movie review channel, and this channel's changed in terms of content because, I've had to rethink. I can't just do the movie that's out on Friday because, it's impossible to do that now. So I think I think some people have pivoted, but in terms of making content, but I also think not knowing what's popular, it does feel very different. And I think it's harder for some cultural writers. It's harder for all of us to figure this out. It might feel like a smaller issue, but when you're talking about pop culture writers and stuff, it does feel like you have to be a little more creative. And this feels like an article that's more stating a thing that a lot of people are saying, but succinctly saying it, basically. But yeah, we have no idea what really is as popular. It's like, I kind of feel like some of these moments feel bigger because you're at home and like you have Twitter. Like, I've never seen so many people tweet and all that about what The Masked Singer and that show. By the way, if there's any show in the world that feels like I'm watching RoboCop in a dystopian world, it's that Masked Singer show. Like, that seems so weird to me. I've never watched it, but anytime I see clips, I'm like, this is a hit show. Like, that is the only like, it's not like, mumble rap or things I'm supposed to be angry at. It's just The Masked Singer just confuses the fuck out of me. I don't understand that. I should make a react video. It'd just be me going like, I could never do a react video. But anyway, it's an interesting idea, and I think it's something we should think about currently. Is like before, like when Star Wars was big, we were aware of how popular something is, and I don't think we're really aware of what people are really consuming, and most of that data isn't being shared with us right now. Like, we have no clue how much Mulan made, for example. We have no clue like how many people watch Scoob. There's certain big entertainment things this summer, and we have no clue how popular any of that is. So it's an interesting thing to think about. They did a good job writing it. Ryan Gosling has signed on for a stuntman movie, not Drive, which is a great movie, one of the best movies of the 2010s, but he is in a stuntman movie. He's signed on to a stuntman movie directed by David Leitch. This is apparently might be a remake of The Fall Guy, but no one's sure. This is another, like the when Austin brought up the Peacemaker thing, where they're like, so is it The Fall Guys? Because the project, the script is from that, and then they won't give a specific answer, which is bizarre. But it does sound cool. A David Leitch, Ryan Gosling playing a stuntman, solving crimes kind of movie sounds cool to me, and I like David Leitch. It sounds like a good turn for him because I feel like he's done a lot of big blockbusters. Like, is Deadpool 2 that great? Like, I liked Atomic Blonde actually, but like, was it Deadpool 2 and what was the other one? I forget, but it feels like he sort of lost his mojo a little. So unlike his cohort, who I think the John Wick sequels are pretty decent shot-wise and stuff, so I think this is a good place for him to be. I didn't talk about this, and I should talk about this, but Netflix has been buying up a lot of indie films. For some reason, Malcolm and Marie, the Zendaya and John David Washington film, got bought for like $30 million. That's the film that was very controlled in quarantine. We also had Pieces of a Woman, which I believe is the film with Vanessa Kirby that did really well, and The Guilty have all been bought up by Netflix. Netflix seems to be buying up all the festival films right now. Hobbs and Shaw. Thank you, guys. Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw was fun, but he needs to do better stuff. I forgot it. Sorry about that. So apparently a lot of people are saying because so there seems to be this thing going on right now with people who cover the Oscars. and they're kind of not talking about how the for your consideration ad campaigns haven't started. So it seems to a lot of people that the Oscars are probably going to skip a year. We have no confirmation on that, but just because of ad spends and stuff like that, it seems like that's what's going on. So there's apparently, I'm going to try to bump through this, a Evel Knievel lawsuit. They are suing Toy Story 4 and Pixar because of Duke Kaboom. I don't think this is entirely unfounded because they're selling merch, and I'm sure that's sort of devaluing Evel Knievel stuff because people want to buy Duke Kaboom stuff, and that's not a terrible argument. It's just weird that they're suing now. Like, did they not see Toy Story 4 made like $1 billion? Like, that's the part I find a little weird. But yes, they're suing Disney over Duke Kaboom. I mean, it's not totally unfounded, but I think it's more just because they're taking a hit with their merchandise, probably because more kids are buying Duke Kaboom, but that's also because kids don't really know who Evel Knievel is, and they know Duke Kaboom from Toy Story. But yeah, they are really sort of suing a little late. Anyway, so Hawkman was cast. We saw Adis Hodge, who you probably saw in, or he's in talks. All right, whatever. It seems like he's going to do it, but he's being very confirmable in talks to play Hawkman, he was the kind of guy that Elizabeth Moss was, the house she stayed in Invisible Man. He was in that, and he was good in that, and he's a good actor, so it seems cool. I'm fine with that. I know that Hawkman originally is like a super white guy, but he's very muscular kind of dude. Looks like he could work. I have no problems with that. As well as Tinkerbell in the Peter Pan and Wendy, directed by David Lowery, was cast as well. I don't really know how to say her name. Yara Shadabi, I believe. She's in Grownish. She looks very, very beautiful. Looks like a good Tinkerbell to me. I think a lot of times when they cast these people, it's like they just find someone who I'm like, oh yeah, that would be Tinkerbell, that would be Ariel. They just look like immediately when I look at them. So I think I don't really mind, or I think it's kind of cool to have people of color like play these roles, but as well as like I think they've casted it really, really well. Each time I've seen these people, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. If they walked into the room, I'd be like, oh yeah, definitely. Like, that makes so much sense. So I think, yeah. Anyway, where are we? Oh, apparently, that's sort of a rumor. All right. So this came out today that Joseph Kosinski, not the killer person. No, the Wendy movie did come out awesome, but that's another one I need to catch up with. I missed that one. But Joe Kosinski, who is doing Top Gun Maverick, did Tron Legacy, Oblivion, I think a firefighter movie I'm forgetting. But his next film is going to be called Spiderhead, is going to be at Netflix with Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller, and Jernay Smollett, who's in Lovecraft Country and Full House. That's how I remember her. And Friday Night Lights. It seems like a cool idea for a movie where basically these people who have to get time off of their prison sentence have to do experimental drugs, and one of the experimental drugs kind of has to do with memory and has them just sort of deal with their problems of what got them there, which sounds super interesting and could be a really cool vehicle for this guy, because I don't think he's had a real big hit movie that's like an original thing, and I think this could be potential for him. Okay, the rumor thing, sorry. So Mandalorian, basically we heard from that there's potential that there'll be a season 4 of The Mandalorian. That it's even been approved up to that Disney is so confident about it that they're planning things up to season 4. It's sort of not confirmed, but we'll see about that. The next M. Night movie has been confirmed. These are M. Night movies are kind of interesting because he finances them and produces them, and the studio is just a distributor. So he can sort of do what he wants at this point. It's sort of an interesting career he's in, but it's called Old. We don't know anything about it, but things we do know, and this was confirmed by Collider, it is sort of based on a French graphic novel called Sandcastle by Pierre Oscar Levy and Frédéric Peters, because I can say things with dumb accent. Okay. But the plot is when a dead body is discovered on a beach, signaling some unnatural goings on. So I don't know what that means, but that's what's going on. It is not connected to Glass, to my understanding, Austin. But who knows? Because we didn't know that about Split till we saw it. So, and I think we're on the last few things, and then it's Obits, right? Yes, we're on the last few things. So apparently on the set of Scream 5, which is currently filming, there were several cases of COVID-19, but they're trying to resume filming. There's 3 crew members, none of the cast, but they were positive for coronavirus. They were quarantined, and I guess everyone who was in contact with them, but it seems like they were not a main part of the cast and crew, so I think it was fine, but we don't actually know who they were, but that happened to Scream 5, so this seems to be something that will continue to happen for a while, unfortunately. You will hear about sets having to shut down and stop, and it's just going to be harder for major movie productions, and any movie productions, unless you're the Malcolm and Marie thing where you can all, like, quarantine together and stuff. It's going to be tough. So it's been confirmed that Chuck E. Cheese, since they've been hit so hard by Corona, are considering making TV shows and movies, potentially animated, of their characters. It sounds like something that they sort of just want to do. There's no one attached to direct or develop or like a deal signed. It's sort of like if I said I'd want to make a movie about my left shoe, or that's dumb, but that could be cool. I don't know. Anyway, it's just sort of like a thing they came up with. So this I found interesting, and it's sort of like a boring announcement, but I'm sort of maybe reading into it, but maybe I'm not. But Halloween, the original, is coming to theaters this year, which is pretty normal. That movie actually played at Regal, I think, last year when they played their classic horror movies. It's one of those that every Halloween plays at theaters. That's not normal. That's pretty normal. But Halloween 4 and 5 are also going, which is interesting because you would think they would do Halloween and then 2 and 3, or 2 and then 4, or something like that. That's an interesting track and specific plot line to take. I know 4 and 5 have their own fans, actually, which is a whole thing. I think I've reviewed the first 4, and I haven't reviewed 5, so maybe I should review 5 at some point, but or see, I barely remember 5. But it's interesting they chose, like, Halloween 1, I get it, it's one of the best horror movies, if not one of the best movies ever made, but 4 and 5, it's just confusing to me. But maybe they're like, hey, let's just bring these out because, we know we'll get, like I've said with the cult stuff, we know we'll get certain people who will show up for that, and maybe, like, they thought 2 wouldn't do that as much, or having 3 definitely, I mean, maybe 3 would work, I don't know, but 4 and 5 does have a very unique cult following, so maybe that's why it's just such a strange idea to re-release 4 and 5, but whatever, that's what they're doing. It's coming to theaters, a lot of drive-ins and stuff, so look out. If you're interested in that, look it up. It is specific places, but it seems like a lot of states are in there, so if you want to see, if you've never seen Halloween on the big screen, or 4 and 5 on the big screen, that's your opportunity. So Niji Kichu wanted me to talk about this, and this is my final thing before obituaries, is the first a Philippine animated film on Netflix. It's called, I think, Hayop K, which sounds really cool to me. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, but it's going to be coming out in the end of October. It was in development for a couple of years, and they're finally making it. It sounds like I was saying with Netflix animation, one of the things I really like about them is they pick up all sorts of different things. I think this will be really good for this project, and especially foreign animation, especially the Philippines. So I hope this film goes well. I'm really curious about it. I watched the trailer. I like how it bounces around in languages. It's about this girl caught between these two guys, but it seems like a little more emotional, like, character piece to me. So I'm actually really interested in this film. I'm very excited for when this comes out. And you're right, I don't know why I skipped over the Nick Fury show. And thank you, Austin. I don't know why I did that. So that's funny. I don't know how that got. I think that's my fault. Sorry about that. So there's going to be, and I read all about it too. There's going to be a Nick Fury. I don't know how that. Whatever. Probably. I think that one's my fault. There's going to be a Nick Fury show with Sam Jackson on Disney Plus. We don't know much about what's going on with it, but it sounds cool. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to be the Steranko version or stuff like that. I don't think so, because that's like a different Nick Fury. But there are a lot of really cool Nick Fury stories in the comics, and the Steranko ones are really cool. So I would, like, if it was, most people are going to suggest the Steranko stuff. But I feel like that's maybe not what they're going to do, but we'll see. I think it's also cool because Sam Jackson doesn't get a lot to do in the MCU stuff, and it's a damn shame. Watching Captain Marvel last night was like, you know, Sam Jackson's like an underutilized resource, and he loves doing these big blockbusters. But even in, like, when I watched Attack of the Clones and all this stuff, it's like they don't use him enough. Like, he's a great actor, and I really hope they really use him well in this. So thank you for keeping me straight, Austin. I have one Obit, and I don't remember any other major. We talked about Ruth Bader Ginsburg last week, but Michael Chapman, who shot Raging Bull and a lot of great films, died this past week. That's a pretty significant loss. If you've never seen Raging Bull, you should do that, like, tonight. It's a great movie. It's one of the greatest of all time, and one of the best shot films ever. All right, so why'd you have to bring up Shaft 2019? Mace Windu prequel show, Bloxy. That is a good point. Alright, so I'm going to go to the bathroom. We're going to do 2 segments. One is the final of the Roger Rabbit shorts that I can review, because there's only 3. And then I'm actually going to do the Arctic Dog shorts, collection 1, because there's actually 5 collections. Seriously. And then we'll do questions, and then that'll be it. So I will be right back. I need some water. It's a little hot since I took the ACs out recently. Regretting that. But, yeah. Anyway, it seems like everyone's like, watch Raging Bull. So that's cool. Ice-T in a Halloween movie would be cool. That's true. Alright, I will be right back, and then we'll talk about Roger Rabbit and Arctic Dogs. Arctic Friends, weird spinoff. Alright, cool. Be right back. Ooh. Okay, what's going on in the chat? Oh, I wanted to put up this one. Yeah, okay. Here are my... Hello, okay. Here are my New Mutant books. See, my dad has all my comics, but still in his house. But I did use the Marvel Unlimited app, which is great. But here's like one of them. Actually, this one is probably the one that has all the Demon Bear stuff, missing coverage stuff. I have the first 4. I should have just put these behind me. That was my plan. I totally forgot. And I have a lot of graphic novels, as well as Galactic Storm. Galactic Storm was a big fave as a kid, but I don't think anyone cares about that. I don't have a real good personal connection to that one. So, before we get into the segments, I wanted to bring up sort of the schedule for next week, just because it's different. I think Arctic Friends will be the Tuesday. There'll be a video tomorrow. There'll be movie review vote. Tuesday probably will be Arctic Friends, and then Wednesday I'm going to do an early review of Wolfwalkers. So that will be a premiere. I think it'll be at 11 that Wednesday night. So if you are looking for something to do Wednesday night, premiere 11 o'clock of Wolfwalkers, which will be the new Cartoon Saloon movie. And I would like to do my Cuties review this week as well. And I know there's going to be an every show ever, and hopefully I'll get that done this week, but most likely I'll have to do it. If I have to do it the following week, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's the plan. So if you're into this week, that's kind of what I'm planning out. But just to let you guys know if you want to be here. Anyway, the Essential Marvel Collection, I don't think I have any of those. No, but I have actually read whole ones. I read a bunch of those. They're a great way. They're cool, but honestly, the Marvel Unlimited app is great. I really like it, and I've actually had it for a few months to read New Mutant stuff just to catch up, and I kind of want to read. I've never read like the Grant Morrison X-Men run, and that's kind of been a big thing. I need to catch up on that. Actually, that's like been a life thing. I need to check off the list here. Hey, Not in Box 64. Remember that MIB 2 had an alternate universe ending before they went for the train station? I did not do. Men in Black 2 is such a like, I don't remember. I've seen that once. I did not remember that. That's interesting. Maybe at some point I should review the Men in Black movies, because I like the Men in Black. The first one a lot, actually. I watched that a lot. The second one ear out the other. I was like, anyway, cheers to you. Thank you, Not in Box 64. That's very cool. Oh, it is midnight. Thank you, Lauren Jones. All right. So, let's talk about Roger Rabbit Trail Mix-Up. So, this is... Of course I didn't. Hold on. Ryan's here. Cool. Oh, god damn it. Yes, that's the one. Apple needs to cut it with the... Anyway. Jim gets mad at Apple. Sorry, I just realized I didn't have the date, and I didn't want to mess this up. Which I already did, so good for you, Jim. Trail Mix-Up came out on March 12th, 1993. This is about 3 years after the Roller Coaster Rabbit one previously. Now, this one is a very different... Okay, let me start this off. Today I'm going to talk about Roger Rabbit Trail Mix-Up. This is the third of the 3 theatrical Roger Rabbit shorts. It came out on March 12th, 1993, with the film A Far Off Place, which Reese Witherspoon's in, apparently. This is a different one. It's actually directed by a different team, Barry Cook, not Rob Minkoff and Frank Marshall, who did the live action. Rob Minkoff did the animation, although Rob Minkoff produced and helped write it. There was a definite delay between them, and because of what I talked about last time with the Roger Rabbit shorts, where Steven Spielberg got upset at Disney because them wanting to put it before Dick Tracy instead of Arachnophobia, even though I think that was a better choice, but I get he had a 50% stake and actually canceled a short that was already in development, which was called Hair in My Soup. He canceled it during it was like pretty far in pre-production, and he canceled that. And they actually canceled they canceled like a bunch of other things they were developing in terms of Roger Rabbit stuff, and then worked on this one. Now, what's interesting is both this one and Roller Coaster Rabbit were made at the Florida studio rather than the California studio, so things like Mulan were made there, as well as Lilo and Stitch. They're a little looser, that studio, and stuff like that. But, so watching this, I kind of came to a realization, and I think, well, not a realization, but something did dawn on me when watching, something did dawn on me while watching this Roger Rabbit short, is because I've watched, I've gone through all the Roger Rabbit shorts, and I told you guys before at the beginning of this that I didn't feel like, and a lot of people felt, that Roger Rabbit doesn't make a compelling cartoon character. He doesn't make a good cartoon character. He just makes a good character in the story of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I agreed with until this short, because this short, I think, introduces more of a formula. This one and Roller Coaster Rabbit work in a particular way. You get used to this formula, and you get used to what a Roger Rabbit cartoon should be, and it feels a little more unique. Whereas I think when Roger Rabbit, in both this and Roller Coaster Rabbit, they combine an absurd sense of comedy where just something ridiculous cartoony will happen with slapstick. I don't think that was highlighted as much in Tummy Trouble as it was in these two, and I think it works really well in this, and they get really slapstick. This is the silliest of the Roger Rabbit shorts. I think that's probably because it's directed by a different person, and a different creative team for the most part, although Rob Minkoff's there doing some stuff, but this seems to be a different thing. And there's a lot of funny bits. I mean, the fact that the mom goes hunting is completely ridiculous. I mean, this like plays it up so much, because it's like, why are they camping? Who cares? She's going hunting, and she'll basically kill Roger if something happens to baby. Which nothing happens to that baby. Like, everything just happens to Roger. Someone should watch after Roger, not this baby. Like, this baby's fine. Baby, like a tree gets cut and almost like fell. It's like crazy. But anyway, the baby's fine. Baby Herman's fine. But you can. This, plays differently. You get more of a Jessica Rabbit like cameo than the previous ones, or just had her walking by or say a line. She has like a whole scene, which is nicer. You get Droopy, who has to be in every Roger Rabbit thing apparently. Not sure why, but he's there. And I'm also not sure why the delay. I'm very curious, like, how this one came together, which I can't find. Like, why suddenly it seemed like Hair in My Soup was canceled, then they made this. There's no reason behind it. But I think what works about this is we basically get the same kind of thing that we got the same formula we've gotten ever since the Roger Rabbit short we see at the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, to all these others. The separate theatrical shorts is, the mom comes in and says, "Don't screw this up, I'll take you to the science lab, I'll shoot you in the face, she's a terrible employer, but also, you're fired," all this stuff. She seems like the worst, and the baby's not great either, but that's Roger's job apparently. But you set this up, and having go through the slapstick thing, although it works in Who Framed Roger Rabbit very well, if you're just watching that as an isolated thing, it doesn't work as well as its own thing. And I think when you play more with it and have more fun, like a Looney Tunes Tex Avery would, it highlights it more. But at this point, watching this cartoon, I'm getting used to the structure, the idea of what a Roger Rabbit short is. And I kind of thought about one of the things that hurts Roger Rabbit versus all the other cartoon characters is you probably know what a Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny cartoon is. You probably know what a Tom and Jerry cartoon is, just by the structure, because we get so used to it. We're sort of desensitized to the structure. We don't even think about it. It's like background noise. You're just there for the gags. And the problem with Roger Rabbit is he has the specific kind of structure, which they definitely adhere to. A Roger Rabbit short adheres to a certain thing. And by the time watching this one, my mind is playing with me like, oh, this is how it's supposed to go. This is what Roger's supposed to do. And I instantly like this kind of a style. Now, the thing that sucked is, like, I got this on the last one. But the thing with Bugs Bunny is, like, by the time, you know, you're 7 or 8, you've seen like 100 Bugs Bunny cartoons theoretically. So I think while watching this one, I started to accept Roger more, but he didn't have the luxury that all these other characters had. He theoretically only had 4 shorts if you want to count Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but really it's 3. And, you know, one was 3 years later. So I feel like the idea of Roger as a separate cartoon character never really got to happen because Bugs and Mickey Mouse and Pluto and Goofy, which is, you know, Roger's biggest influence, I guess, is because he mentions it a lot in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You should see it if you haven't. But he never really got to build up that much. So I actually don't think, now I've changed from, I don't think it's the character's fault, like the character's bad or written too thin. I think it's the fact that we don't get to have that built up kind of knowledge of him because that never happened, because our relationship with him as a viewing audience never got to get there. But I like the absurdity of this. I like the live action parts, which I think is the only time the live action parts and the animated parts are directed by the same person. The live action parts, like he destroys like Mount Rushmore. He basically destroys the world. So I guess that's why this is the last one. All this crazy stuff happens. This one goes to ridiculous extremes, which I sort of love really about it. It makes Trail Mix Up like a lot of fun. You know, the thing is, like, I really want another one in this style. It felt like really cool. You know, but this one I think is the most cartoony of all of them, and doesn't rely on the fact that, oh, we better show the live action world because, you know, you remember that's how you know Roger Rabbit, because cartoons in real world, like, they don't rely on that. And that also might be why I was like so passionate and sort of surprised by this, because the other ones sort of rely so heavily on it. But it does like play off of, like, I actually didn't know when Baby Herman broke character. I was like, wait, this isn't the cartoon still? Like, that was very, very good. Also, the cartoon on this used the CAP system, which is a compositing system. Also, with the color, a lot more of this was done in the computer. This did play on with A Far Off Place, which also I think is why, like, this one's a little more obscure than the others, because I've never heard of A Far Off Place. Is that a movie? I've like never heard of it before this. So I'm probably sure, you know, I did see like there was a tape later that had all 3 on it in '96. That you could watch all 3 shorts. I had seen this short before because of that. I do not think I saw it before this movie, unless this movie made no impression on me. But this did play in the UK before Tarzan, and then in the US before Treasure Planet, and then in Australia before Brother Bear. So if you are like, but Jim, I saw this not before this obscure-ass Disney movie, it's because you saw it, in America at least, on Treasure Planet, since most of you are American. So yeah, I kind of came off of this one feeling a lot more positive about Roger, feeling a lot more positive about the idea of Roger Rabbit cartoons, and I think, you know what, we need to make more of them. I think it's a damn shame they didn't make more. The other ones that were considered, and I want to list these off before I end this segment. We're going up. Okay, the other titles that were considered there were 3 more considered: Clean and Oppressed, Beach Blanket Bay, and Bronco Bustin' Bunny. And they were in the planning stages, but they were all canceled. Supposedly, I keep reading they're in the planning stages in the previous iteration of the that ended in 1990. We don't really know how true any of that is, but it seems like that is to be true. So I am bold to assume most of you are American. But I think that this really showed me more of the promise. I think the last 2 showed me, like, what should a Roger Rabbit cartoon be, and I think it showed you it can be more than slapstick, because it's like, do I really need another slapstick cartoon character? Not necessarily, but the weird absurdity and the crazy lengths they go made me want to watch another Roger Rabbit cartoon. I think Trail Mix Up does that really well. He has some funny slapstick bits actually as well, with the bees and all this stuff, but the things that really stuck out to me are like the real absurdity between like the tree almost squishing Baby Herman to like destroying Mount Rushmore to all these various things. It just looked like they had a lot of fun making it, and I think Barry Cook might come off as maybe this might be the best directed one, because he really just seemed to take his own and show what Roger Rabbit could be as just a cartoon character. Okay, that was a journey, I think. Alright, so I'm going to drink some Red Bull just to get my energy up, and then we'll talk about Arctic Friends. Okay, sorry, I needed that. drink some water. Not American. Do we have foreign spies in the chat? I like that. Medela Butterfly. How are you doing, Medela Butterfly? It's been a little bit. All right. Well, it hasn't, but I'm glad you're here. Anyway. So, if you saw Arctic Dogs last year, which none of you, except for myself, Saber Sparks, and Pan Pizza, I guess, but and I think Paleo, didn't he do that? Did he? Anyway. So, Arctic Dogs came out last year and was a movie. And now this year they've come out with Arctic Friends, a shorts collections on iTunes and Amazon. And what these are is there's 5 collections, which is bold of them, each for like $2. And I bought just the first one. So this is just review of collection 1, to be clear on that. And so when I watched it, I sort of wondered before, oh, well, clearly they probably gave Jeremy Renner like a little bit of money to do this, or like someone who sounded like him or something like that, because as you recall from the trailer, it was like it was like the trailer was like, we have all these celebrity voices, that's why you want to see Arctic Dogs, not because of this bad animation or this dumb story, it's the celebrity voices. And so when they were like, how do we make shorts of Arctic Dogs? Should we do like the Toy Story shorts and bring the original voice actors back, or get sound-alikes? I'm sure they wrestled all night with that one, and then went, hold up, what if we didn't do any of that and they didn't talk at all? And you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense, because these characters like talk a lot, so why would you do that? And they're like, nah, fuck that. So basically, if you're wondering, these characters don't talk in these shorts at all. And you'd think like they come up with a better thing for them to talk to each other, but instead they just go, things like that, because they don't really know how to make these without people making weird noises at each other. And it's strange, because I'm so used to the amazing vocal talents of Jeremy Renner as Swifty, and Cold Brewed Hits guy that Alec Baldwin played, and the walrus that John Cleese was and stuff, but they don't talk in any of these at all. They just make noises like and stuff like that, which is bizarre and strange. I'm sort of wondering if this was supposed to be a like TV series or something. Like, why are these shorts collections? Like, where were these originally intended? I actually couldn't figure that out. But in this, they had about 4 different cartoons, and they were all pretty bad. There's a goat involved. I'm not sure where this goat character came from. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember Arctic Dogs that well. I mean, I remember Swifty. That's about it. I don't remember it, so I don't remember if this goat was in it or not. But in it, they have 4 shorts: Mind the Gap, Love is in the Air, Off the Rails, and You Goat to Be Kidding Me. Which You Goat to Be Kidding Me is, if you're wondering, the best one. The first one, Mind the Gap, is a little confusing, because you realize, oh, they're not going to talk this whole time. They're just going to go, and stuff like that. But Swifty and Cold Brewed guy have to get this box over this bridge, and the Puffins help or try to get the box instead. It's not great. And then after is Love is in the Air, where we find out this goat this goat in the first short, they're delivering this thing to a goat who lives next to a drawbridge for some reason. The Arctic is crazy, guys. But Love is in the Air, there's a goat, and the goat keeps like putting a spell where you can see their thoughts and like these weird images between Swifty and his girlfriend, and like so she can see that he likes her, which I think she already does, but like they get upset, and yeah, that one's really bad. And then Off the Rails is just the packaging center, because Swifty wants to be a package person. A lot of packaging and UPS jokes in this, and the packages get all crazy. Off the Rails is maybe the worst one. And then You Goat to Be Kidding Me, which in that is literally the weirdest one, and sort of a horror short. I think it's a horror short. I really do. because so first John Cleese is, well, he's not John Cleese, but Walrus John Cleese person is sick and keeps sneezing and going wah, wah, and then the Puffins go get a package. You know what? I zoned out a lot. Who knows? But they go get this package, and then the goat gets it and opens it, and like becomes a clown, and then keeps opening the box and laughing at this box. And the Puffins are watching, scared. They're like, "What's in the box? What's there?" And they just watch him. And Swifty comes over, and they can't figure it out. And everyone's scared because they're like, he won't stop laughing at this box. And then, when this isn't a creepypasta, the Puffins get the box back. But then when they bring the box to Walrus Guy, they're clowns too, and they're laughing. And then he's not sneezing anymore, and he's laughing, and you don't see him become a clown, but the Puffins are clowns. I have no clue what this represents. I'm scared. That was the greatest one, because I will never forget that, because I can't sleep anymore, even though I just watched it today. But that was horrifying. The rest is just pretty terrible Arctic Dogs things. I just find it funny that they were going to follow up Arctic Dogs with people going meh, 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 meh. Like they couldn't get any connection, like to like any voice actors, like any cheap ones. They're just like, and like I will say the grunts sort of sound like the celebrities if you like muffle your ears, but yeah. Someone said the box is Norm. MBLT says it's Norm's head. Oh my god, that would be perfect. Arctic Dogs, the Arctic Shorts. I don't think these are good enough or funny enough to see again, probably, unless you guys are really into me talking about it. It's pretty bad. It's the kind of stuff you'd expect from the makers of Arctic Dogs. If they were going to make a sequel, they're going to make a crappy amount of shorts like this. I'm just a little surprised about how crappy of an attempt it was. You'd think I'd like the silent cartoons, but they're not really the best animators to be doing even something like that. So until then, I guess I'll just be horrified by the box that can sort of turn people into clowns that just laugh at anything, who just horrifyingly laugh at anything for no good reason. So I guess that's a thing that you can show your kids with these Arctic Friends shorts. All right, worse than Pingu. I like Pingu, so. All right, so we have 2 Patreon questions, and we'll do regular questions. And I will be doing I think whenever I get the new computer, I was going to do a Q&A stream at some point. So I'll let you know in advance of that. But anyway, Sinram asks, speaking of reshoots, is there any film that you felt could have been much better if a few scenes had been redone as opposed to a film that pretty much sucks throughout? I would say actually in Sin City, where what's his name, Michael Madsen does his dialogue, like it always felt like he needed a couple more takes, like when he's like, you got a bum ticker, and like all this, like I mean it sort of works because of the material, but it's sort of crappy, so I wish they'd redone that. So I would say that one. That's the one that always comes to mind, that one. But you know The Fog, the movie The Fog was fixed by reshoots can work. So Jordan Bouchard, this is a question that, because of like all my Patreon questions got, Google Docs was not working for Google Docs, but not, I might switch to a different thing, but I missed that. Anyway, so Jordan Bouchard asked from last week, but I'm answering it now. While growing up, what were a few of the cartoons you remember enjoying and not enjoying? I remember enjoying Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Jason the Wheel Warriors, stuff like that. What I didn't enjoy, I didn't like the Rambo show at the time. I remember that. So that's the only one I can think of. I pretty much, when I was a kid, I'd watch anything that was animated because it was more limited to see that stuff. So I didn't really like Our Real Monsters for a bit. So that's probably that too. Anyway, all right. So let's answer some questions. Zane Powers asks if. Oh wait. I have an Austin question, but let me do Zane Powers get started. If The Rock is the Schwarzenegger of our generation, then who is John Cena? Maybe like a Jean-Claude Van Damme, probably. All right, hold on. Austin's question is, hey, movie crap, how have you been behaving? So I watched for school this week Lisa Borden's Born in Flames. It's a bit confusing. Well, I'll find a film interesting, exploring the empowerment of women through the rising up as an army. I wonder what our lovely host Jim's thoughts are reading of the film is. Oh, about Born in Flames. I really like Born in Flames. Sorry, it's a little radical and politically radical and things like that. I always like that about it. It's been a little bit since I watched it, but I do plan on reviewing it at some point soon. I always liked that what it was saying about like the empowerment of genders and them being able to rise up and do something. And I think most films don't think of it as a group of women doing that, or a group, an all-encompassing group of things, and like trying to make things diverse and like how society would fight that and things like that. But again, it's been a little bit since I watched it, but I am sort of a fan of it because I used to watch it a lot because I'd have to play it for teachers when I did a job that made me do that. So, which was cool, actually. That's not a bad movie to watch a lot. Cornbread asks, sorry, Austin, took me a minute. Cornbread asks, Jim, finally settled the debate. Are black and white colors, or are they the absence of color? Huh. I guess if you're doing like a saturation, they're the absence, but I've always thought of them as colors, so I'm going to say they are. Zane Powers, what was the Paramount thing you cut? Oh, it's just the Paramount Network. It seems like most of the Paramount Network shows are going to go to CBS All Access, and the Paramount Network's going to become more movie-centric. So, sorry I cut that. Black Sea Uncle, how do you feel about pumpkin spice? I actually really like pumpkin spice Dunkin' Donuts. I haven't had one. I've been meaning to, so I need to do that. I need to do that. Another question from Black Sea. What kind of coffee maker do you use? We have a espresso machine here, and that's really good. And I forget the name of it, and I should remember it. So ask me again next time. Hopefully I'll remember it next time. Austin, what would you watch The Boys if I told you that Sean Ashmore is playing Pyro? I would like to watch The Boys, but I think I don't have enough time to to really give it my proper attention, because like when I do the time code, I think I'm going to watch The Phantom actually with Billy Zane, because I like to watch dumb stuff while I can like ignore it. So if I ever have the time, I would like to catch up with it, but that does make it cooler to me, by the way. Zane Powers, thoughts on the Snyder Cut officially being called the Director's Cut, and apparently that was newsworthy. What? That's my thoughts. Okay. Zane Powers. Oh, no. No. Where were we? Thoughts? Okay. Zane Powers, what's a food that makes you need to poop the most? Probably tacos. Oh, I love tacos. Toon J 723. Thoughts on Freaky Friday, both 1976 and 2003 versions? I actually grew up with a 90s TV movie version, so I'm a little more nostalgic for that, but I've seen the 2003 version more times than I'm proud of, probably, but the 76 version is a little more interesting because it's a 70s film, and it's a little more like those kind of kids films are a little rarer, so that feels more interesting, I would say. 2003 one, you get Jamie Lee Curtis, and the garage band thing was, they're all like weird time capsules of their time. They're sort of interesting. I don't know. I hope that answered that. Not plausible. Since there's going to be like a million pieces of COVID entertainment in the coming years, what kind of COVID-related movie or TV show would you like to see? That's a good one. Actually, a lot of people are bringing up that there's not a lot of Spanish flu media or books. Like, people sort of wanted to get past it. I don't think our culture currently is good at getting past anything without making a million stuff. I do think what we're seeing with animation, because Fox is really trying to pick up a lot of animated stuff. Viacom's doing a lot of animation. Netflix just bought that fucking building, or built that building or whatever. I think animation, we're going to see a lot of that. I would like to see more indie, smaller stuff, because I think the studios are going to have to realize, like, these $200 million things they can't recoup unless they have every theater in the world is not really financially viable, and they're starting to realize that. I wouldn't mind if we got a mumblecore, a new mumblecore movement going on. I think small indie movies should be making a comeback. That would be cool. I don't know if anyone would want to see it, but whatever. Lauren Jones, what is the better Fanta, orange or grape? I'm not a big Fanta person, but I'm gonna go orange probably. Jordan Bouchard, this week, which of the Oceans 11, 12, etc. movies have you seen, and which is your favorite? Probably Ocean's 11 with George Clooney. I tried to watch the Frank Sinatra one, and I was going to review it when Ocean's 8 came out, and it sucked, and I didn't finish it. They're all based on Rafifi, and Rafifi's better than any Ocean's movie. So I will say that right there, Jordan Bouchard. But other than the Ocean, I would say Ocean's 11 with George Clooney, Brad Pitt is the best one because it's like it was most fun and stuff. But I need to watch the other ones. I don't think I've seen 13. I wouldn't mind doing that. Question: what would happen if I viewed the world like Arctic Dogs from Zane Powers? I would think that would be sad and depressing. Cornbread, GM Epic Gamer Quiz. Do you remember the name of the damsel in distress from the original Donkey Kong? I think it was Sally. No, I don't remember. Sorry, Jesse Ventura. Oh, that's a good one. I get what Vanilla Butterfly was referencing. Sorry, why don't you like the idea of white guilt from Zane Powers? I don't necessarily like. I don't like the idea. I don't know. It's sort of a weird term. I mean, I think white people are sort of feel guilt for certain things, but I think when people you guys bring it up a lot. I don't know. I don't necessarily have it, but I do. You know, it's a little late for me to fully answer this question, but I think you know, there's certain things that have been done for, like, you know, by white people predominantly for like racial superiority, which I think you do feel a certain amount of guilt towards, but I don't, you know, it doesn't bother me personally, but well, it does bother me a lot. I don't really like that stuff, so I guess I feel guilty that stuff is still going on, but I don't know. I guess I might have that. I haven't really thought about it. I don't have a good answer. Are you, Embla T? I'm going to move on. Embla T, are you still excited for Wonder Woman 1984 and Black Widow in spite of their leads being problematic? Oh, probably more so in Wonder Woman 84. I'm not super excited for Black Widow. I think they both have issues. I think Gal Gadot is better at of us all forgiving her. What's the worst reality show you've ever seen? I've barely seen any, but I'm going to say the OJ thing because of that. Question: did your mom ever throw away any of your toys again? I think a few. Probably they didn't want to. Question: what is Danny Moonstar's power? From Austin, she can go in and psychically project your greatest fear. So that's it. Yeah, basically. That's what I think I said it in the thing, but yeah, she can make a psychic representation of your greatest fear and show it to you, which would scare you, obviously. Speaking of Arctic Dogs, from Gerald Coe, what are your thoughts on another Arctic Dogs cartoon series starring the Puffin Minions? Yes, that's a real thing. I did not know that, so I don't have thoughts, but that's expected from that franchise. Question: do you remember when Fred Durst was in a WWE video game? I actually do. Where have the Teletubbies gone for a while? Walsh said, I don't know. Like, somewhere. Let me answer two more from people I haven't answered. Is Billy Zane's powers the perfect man? Yes, it is. I got a new waifu today. What do you have to say about that? Congrats, I guess. Oh, any updates on the project you and Izzy were doing? No, I don't think it's really moving forward at this point. Nathaniel Fogo. Didn't seem. Maybe it will at some point, but right now it seems to be a little stalled. So, you know, things happen. But I'm not answering that other question. What would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom? What is that from? I probably should know. All right. Oh, Lauren Jones. Jim does. I know what a waifu is. Don't. Anyway. All right. Question: will I remember you? Will you remember? Okay. What? Anyway. Alright, I think that's it. We've run a little long, but I think it's time to go. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you everyone who gave a super chat. Thank you for Jaxblade for reviving the chat. Sorry about those buffering problems for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. That sort of sucks, so apologies for that. Would you want to do another comic book review? Team America, sorry. Probably not, but maybe at some point. I don't know. There's one comic book thing that's in Demon Bear I almost did a segment on, but maybe I don't think I'd do too many other comic book things. New Mutants was sort of a bigger thing, but anyway, like to me personally, so there's like a Spawn issue I might do, but I don't have as much of a connection to a lot of that New Mutants did, so we'll see, but no plans right now. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you all for being here. Sorry about all the nonsense with the buffering at the beginning, but thank you everyone who gave a super chat. Check out the videos. I had a full week of them. I think, sorry the stoppage was because of the New Mutants video, but check it out. I'm very proud of that one. Check out the winner of the Patreon movie review vote, Looney Tunes Back in Action, as well as, what was before it? Oh, the hate cartoon review that actually the creator found on Twitter and liked, which was crazy. And then, and a bunch of them. What was, the Gorillas and the HBO Max thing. And check out the Armchair Auteur again. It was great. It was really awesome getting to work with him on something. Anyway, thank you all very much. You guys have a great night, and I will see you all next time. No, won't let me end. All right, and subscribe if you would like to. Thank you very much for being here.